Hello everybody and welcome back to the F1 2021 Co-op Career Mode Season 5 with me Dan and my co-commentator Nick, who won't be joining us today, and our graphics by Matt Amos and Lom1138. We're actually back in Bahrain for the first time since Season 2 for the opening race of the season, which is now technically set in 2025. Lots of team changes, lots of regulation changes. Oh my goodness, it has absolutely destroyed the status quo in the field. It is all over the place, and this season, let me tell you, we're not going to see a Red Bull 1-2 every single race yet again. So don't forget to like this video, hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell, and comment down below what was your highlight of the race. What was the maddest driver move / team up at the top that you've ever seen as we get onto the starting grid? And there we go, we've got Pierre Gasly in the AlphaTauri. He's on pole position alongside Lance Stroll in the Aston Martin. Then we've got Lewis Hamilton, the new Williams driver, starting on the second row alongside Antonio Giovinazzi. Justin Freshpot picks up a seat at Mercedes, starting P5, and Nicholas Latifi remains as he was. Then it's the two Red Bulls of George Russell and Lando Norris making up the back end of the top 10, with Yuki Tsunoda and Charles Leclerc rounding them off. And then we're back to Mick Schumacher in the other Haas, and then Valtteri Bottas in the Alfa Romeo. We said it was getting crazy. Then we got Carlos Sainz, the first of the McLarens, and Robert Schwartzman still in Alfa Romeo. Radiant Slothz remains at Ferrari for another season, as does Sergio Perez at Alpine, and Guan Yu Zhou in the second McLaren, and Esteban Ocon in the other Alpine. And round out the back row, we have Max Verstappen in the Ferrari and Nikita Mazepin. Let's get on with this race. So as I said during the start of this video, there'll be no Nick today. I deleted the replay and decided that this race, since it was just going to be a silent onboard, may as well just be me talking. It is, of course, 2 days after the original upload date, but Christmas and New Year's very busy. As we see, we dive down the inside, making up lots of positions into turn 1. A bit of contact with Lando Norris, Valtteri Bottas getting in there as well. Charles Leclerc racing us down to turn 4 here, which just goes to show the sorry state of the performance of this Ferrari. Just to give you an insight into what has gone wrong with the field, we had 3 regulation changes, aero, power unit, and chassis, and it seems as though some of the midfield put all of their eggs in one basket. I think you could probably guess it was AlphaTauri who put them in the right basket. Best aero, and I think best power unit on the grid at this stage. Aston Martin with a fantastic chassis. As for Ferrari, well, Nick left the team, I should say, as the number 1 driver, and he had control over the R&D. It did not protect any of the R&D upgrades whatsoever. So I'm driving essentially the stock F1 2021 Ferrari, which may as well be the F1 2020 Ferrari, which means that everybody else on the field, including Haas, are better than me. In fact, just to give you an idea of the performance of all of the cars, I think Haas are actually the 5th best car, considering that they've only got Spec 1 and a couple of Spec 2 factories. So everything is up in the air. And, well, here we are. We've rejoined on lap 3. Somehow, I am still in P9. But as you can see, George Russell in the Red Bull, 2 seconds down the road. We've got Charles Leclerc are basically bearing down on us in a Haas. He's actually going for a move up the inside, and somehow we've managed to stay ahead. Amazingly, this Ferrari is so slow that every single car on the grid is a million times faster. In fact, if you take a look to the bottom left-hand corner of your screens to the minimap, you could see Max Verstappen in the other Ferrari dropping back significantly from the McLaren and the Alpine of Guan Yu Zhou and Esteban Ocon. It looks as though Sergio Perez dropped all the way back. I think there was some content. Here comes Charles Leclerc. Massive overspeed with the DRS. That Haas is a rocket in a straight line. And I can tell you that although this was recorded way back in November, I'm recording this now on the 4th of January, and my God, the Haas is still in a better car than me. And right now, we've just finished the halfway point of the season. It was very busy, as I said earlier, over Christmas and New Year. So we didn't have a chance to do much recording of new races or commentary. But yes, the Haas, still the one of the better cars on the grid than Ferrari. I feel like Alpine and McLaren, who are the other two cars, worse than Haas, at least at the current stage, have overtaken them again. So it's just me, and my God, as we'll see throughout this series, I outdrive this car like you won't believe. Max Verstappen absolutely not pulling his punches, and not able to catch up with anybody in this. In fact, he's lucky to get out of P20 most of the time. Not good for a world champion. As we see, DRS and overtake on just now, trying to chase down Charles Leclerc. Absolutely not happening. Maximum drag, no power. This car is an absolute dog. It's got no aero, so it's like driving on ice around this circuit. It's still an improvement over the last time we were here. Of course, it was the Williams with its very low-end spec R&D. However, what I will say, the Williams up there with the top teams at the moment. Of course, they've got Lewis Hamilton, who's going to be holding the torch high and leading the way for the team. Unfortunately, he's got a teammate, Nikita Mazepin, who, even if you stick him in the best car in this game, is still a pile of crap. So it's going to be all Lewis Hamilton and no Nikita Mazepin at Team Williams, but still a very competitive car, and one that does actually take top spot later on in the season. As we see now, we're on lap 6, still not able to get past Charles Leclerc, and he comes into the pit lane. Nick in the Mercedes, he is, I figured, about the 3rd or 4th best car at this point in the season. His is a much nicer car to drive, and it's also fast. As my tyres are starting to go off the cliff at this point in the race, starting to lose the rear end, and Lando Norris is about to take a look up the inside. He does not go for the move, and we survive for a little bit longer. George Russell now 4.5 seconds ahead. Yuki Tsunoda even further. He returns to Mercedes after he was relegated to the team, or I guess promoted from AlphaTauri in Season 2 to Mercedes, was winning pretty much the whole championship, and then he was nerfed by Codemasters, dropping down the order, and somehow he's found himself back at the team. As we see Lando Norris, he's going to challenge up the inside, thankfully compromises his exit, and this incredibly slow Ferrari is able to start going ahead. But we have made contact and broken off an end plate. That has absolutely superheated the tyres. We've lost multiple positions. Even the McLarens are getting past, and my God, they are slow. I think they've got one of the better power units, but everything else on that car is absolute garbage, and that's why they're back here. Alpine pretty much in the same boat, and there's a big cluster of cars now following Lando Norris into the pit lane. We're going to go into, try to go up the inside and think better of it. Unfortunately, touching the back of Carlos Sainz on the way in there, and that is a 5-second penalty, which is not going to be helping. Even if we could get this car into the points, we are not going to be staying there with that penalty. And we see just ahead, I think that was Mick Schumacher coming out of his box, and even he is faster than us right now in the Haas, which is extremely depressing, and something that I really wish that I had done was move to a midfield team. I was thinking about going to Aston Martin at some point during these 10 seasons, and, well, this would have been the perfect opportunity because I would have been racing at the front. As, okay, we're back on board with me, watching Mick Schumacher. Can we get past him? DRS and overtake on again. We are actually gaining. He is weaving all over the place, but we are better on the brakes and we're able to get past. Just for a little bit more reference of how slow this car actually is, it is a struggle to get to 200 miles an hour at this point of the season. I believe I have rectified the problem by taking all of the drag off of the car later on. But still, this was a real struggle. This was like Nick being in the Haas back in season 4, and just nothing going our way whatsoever. As we follow Robert Schwartzman around. What we should also say, whilst we are watching this painful struggle against an Alfa Romeo, is if you are still watching this video, thank you for the support. And if you are a subscriber, doubly thank you. We are well above the 150 subscribers that I was hoping to have by the end of the year. That's 150 more subscribers than I ever thought I would ever have. So all of you guys are legends. As of today, we hit 163. Hopefully it stays that way. And maybe we can get lucky and hit 250 before F1 2022 comes out, because you'd better believe it, we will be back with all of the F1 2022 content, hopefully. Following the commentary format on time. I'm going to take a week off work to make sure that we get enough races and races completed and commentaries done. DRS open, overtake, drains down. We managed to slip up the inside of Robert Schwartzman, who's on the hard tyre for some reason, and compromise his run into turn 2, and we get past him. Unfortunately, we've opened the door to Carlos Sainz, and that McLaren power unit really pushes him forwards. We had to go right down the middle to stop either of them going past, and Robert Schwartzman is not exactly the best driver in the world, so he is not going to be doing too well out of this. And here we are, about to lose P11 to Carlos Sainz. Oh no, he did actually pull in behind us, but we have completely ruined our exit, and that's going to bring him right into contention. There he is. We're going to go defensive up the inside, but the McLaren is just so fast. He's already passed us, and there's just nothing this car can do. It's so slow. What can I say? We go off the track, try to hang it around the outside. Somehow we're able to do it, but we get on that dodgy curb. We've hit that one before, and it's race over. We pick up a drive-through penalty. No surprise there. Nikita Mazepin was the one that made contact with us. And if I had remembered to not delete this replay, then we'd be seeing an onboard of that right now. As we come to the near end of this race, coming into the pit lane for this very sombering drive-through penalty, Sergio Perez gets past in the other Alpine, an incredibly slow car. But look at Max Verstappen on the mini-map, how far back he is from everyone else. I think that's Mick Schumacher still mucking in with some of the lower place cars. And it gets to the point now where I actually have just deliberately allowed myself to be lapped. I have not interfered with the front runners. You see Pierre Gasly absolutely dominating this race, and Antonio Giovinazzi doing what he can to catch up, but it's not going to be enough. There he is. Pierre Gasly takes the Grand Prix, and we settle for this. We settle for last. Not a place that we're unfamiliar with on this channel, but certainly a place that will become much more familiar in an uncompetitive car. Nikita Mazepin, would you believe it, gets driver of the day, presumably for crashing into me. Anyone that does that deserves an award, and we see something incredible. We see a different team at the podium. Yeah, Gasly takes the win. And I'll have to try and see who that was in the Mercedes that got onto the podium. I feel like it was Nick, and if it was him, then good job to him. We haven't exactly made it easy for ourselves over the course of these 10 seasons, or at least the 4 that we've had before, in getting the wins, by not exactly giving us the most competitive cars. I say that, I may have been in Red Bull at one point when it was the best car, but I still was not able to outperform Lando Norris and dominate everybody. And there we go. We've got a Mercedes, an Aston Martin, and an AlphaTauri on the podium. What an absolute race that was. There's more to come. Come back for Imola, hopefully tomorrow, which for you guys should be the 6th of January. Oh, and there we go. There are the finishing results of the Grand Prix. As we know, Pierre Gasly, Antonio Giovinazzi and Justin Freshpot get onto the podium. Then it's the other Aston Martin of Lance Stroll and his fellow Canadianman Nicholas Latifi in the other AlphaTauri. Lewis Hamilton picks up P6 for Williams, so a good result for him. He's followed by George Russell, Yuki Tsunoda, Charles Leclerc and Valtteri Bottas. And of course, over in the Drivers' Championship, the results of the previous Grand Prix do stand here. So Pierre Gasly, Antonio Giovinazzi, Justin Freshpot, Lance Stroll, Nicholas Latifi, Lewis Hamilton, George Russell, Yuki Tsunoda, Charles Leclerc and Valtteri Bottas, the only drivers to have scored points so far. And it does mean that we have dropped all the way down to the bottom of the table. Over in the Constructors, AlphaTauri narrowly beat Aston Martin overall, so they're just 6 points clear at the moment. Mercedes are a little bit further back in third place, and then we have Williams, Red Bull, Haas, Alfa Romeo, and then some of the surprises of the season, McLaren, Alpine and Ferrari at the very bottom. That's all for today's race. We'll catch you next time in Imola.